Hello everyone, this is Grandmaster Damian Lemos here for iChess.net. Welcome to this new deep dive course where we'll be talking about the King's Gambit. And let me tell you that the King's Gambit is one of the best options you can employ as white if you're looking for a sharp game after e4, e5. We know that here the main move is knight f3, and this is going to be the main move forever, but apart from this move and apart from other systems, we can play as white, knight c3, d4, bishop c4. We also have f4. And what I like about the King's Gambit is that we need to play good chess, and with that I'm trying to say we don't need to memorize moves unlike other openings where it all seems to be about memorizing stuff. Here we need to play with initiative, development, and what I like about this is that most of your opponents won't be well prepared. Of course, they're going to be prepared with the Petrov or the Italian, the Spanish, even the Berlin Wall, all the main lines. When we play f4, we have two advantages. One, we'll know some theory because we'll study it, we'll know the plans, and no matter what happens, no matter the outcome of the opening, we'll have the initiative. If we have better position, we'll have the initiative. If we have a worse position, we'll still have the initiative. And in practice, that counts a lot. And as we'll see, most of scenarios are tough to play as black. So after f4, the main move for black is e takes f4, the main move by far. Black has other moves like d5. This is also known as the Falkberg counter gambit. He can also play moves like bishop c5, the humble d6, solid move d6. He can play knight c6. So he's got a lot of options, and of course we'll examine them all in this deep dive course. So this is of course an introduction, but we'll start with the sublines and then we'll move to the main move e takes f4. So don't be surprised if you see this move on the last chapters. So with all of this introduction set, we can start the deep dive, and let me just get the first game of this collection. I selected a lot of games to show the main plans for white in the King's Gambit, and the first game of our course is Karlov against Sekovsky. I think that is the right Russian pronunciation for that surname, and you'll find this on the PGN files. And actually the game started with a different move order. Our move order is e4, e5, f4, and this is the move we want to study, d6. In the game, we'll see white started the game with e4, black played the Pyrrhic defense with d6, and white plays f4. So this is good to know because if you like the King's Gambit and your opponent plays the Pyrrhic, you can still use this move order, and when black plays e5, then we get a position from the King's Gambit. It's like black played d6 here. Same position, different move order, but here the good news is that white gets an easy play by simple means. d3. We can play other moves, of course. We can play knight c3. We can play knight f3. I mean, we don't really care about the f4 pawn because if he wanted to take, he would have taken this pawn on the previous move. So we can just play knight f3. The only trick after d6, or in this case e45, f4, d6, the only thing we need to be aware of is that after the move f takes e5, we lose on the spot as white. So we need to be extremely careful here. And we are not losing after d takes e5. The crashing move for black is queen h4 check. So that's what makes d6 an interesting try. He's waiting till we play f takes e5 and then he wins with queen h4 check. Now,
buying individual chess courses to add to your collection can get expensive, and waiting for the course or video you're looking for to go on sale can take weeks or even months. So, what's a chess enthusiast to do? Introducing the iChess Club, an exclusive community of chess enthusiasts that enjoy a wild range of benefits, including a permanent 40% discount on virtually all chess courses on our shop. Yes, 40% on all items anytime. But wait, there's more. For those of you who like physical DVDs, we offer unlimited free shipping on all items, anywhere in the world, anytime. You'll also get access to the entire iChess.club library, where we post over a dozen exclusive new videos every month. Our lineup of presenters is of much higher quality than anything you can find on YouTube, with exclusive videos by Simon Williams, Damian Lemos, Valerie Lilov, Brian Smith, Eric Rosen you can't find anywhere else, and even private appearances by world's top grandmasters such as Anatoly Karpov, Judith Polgar, Susan Polgar, and more. There are dozens of other benefits as well, such as an additional 5% off all items already on sale, a free 30-minute preview of every single product in our shop, and the ability to purchase items at the sale price up to 30 days after the sale has ended. There are so many benefits we can't possibly list them all in this video. So, join the iChess Club community today and start saving. Joining is easy and you can cancel at any time. So, what are you waiting for? Sign up today.
now we have two options. We can cover the check with g3, but then queen takes e4. And as you can see, we end up losing the rook on h1. And we don't have any compensation because the queen is not really trapped on h1. You can just play a move like knight c6 or bishop d7. Those moves are stopping bishop b5 check, which is the only threat we have at the moment. But he plays knight c6, and then the queen gets out easily. Maybe he can throw a check on c5, and we are likely to lose this anytime soon. So, again, when he plays d6, and remember our move order is e4, e5, f4, d6, f takes e5 is not a good move. At least not yet, because he has queen h4 check, and again if this queen takes e4, and if we play king e2, well, he's got a lot of moves here. Queen takes e4, even d takes e5, knight c6, almost everything works for black here, and with the king on e2, we don't have good chances of surviving this. So, basically after d6, or in this case e5, we are not going to take. We can just play d3, and as we'll see, we'll transpose to sort of a King's Indian attack setup for white. And we can do this because black, he more or less shows his cards when he plays d6. So here he plays knight c6, we play knight f3, like this. Black plays the fianchetto, and white plays knight c3. Something I forgot to say in the introduction is that we are not going to study move by move, as I usually do in other deep dives. What I'll do in this course is show games and show the main lines and the main plans. The King's Gambit, it's all about understanding, it's all about playing with initiative, so there's no point in memorizing or studying move by move lines. What we're going to do here is see games and see how these lines work out in practice. So here, for instance, white plays knight c3, but yes, we can also play like this. And as you can see, this is a king's ending attack where white already has f4 in. If he had the pawn on c5, this would remind me of a closed Sicilian. But the structure is a king's ending attack. And just to see how the game was again from the start, f45, d3, knight c6, here, fianchetto, knight c3, bishop g7, white does the fianchetto as well, black plays knight to e7, and this is a move that makes a lot of sense because he needs to be ready to stop our kingside attack. And if he develops a knight via e7, it's easier for black to do so. If he plays knight f6, first of all, he's blockading his bishop's diagonal, and second, it's not easy for him to stop our pawn storm on the king side. So again, if he develops the knight to e7, he can move his f7 pawn at some point, and that helps black stop white's kingside attack. With that said, after knight f6, I found an example. You'll find this on the BGN files where white took. And I like this decision because now this diagonal is going to be closed no matter what black plays. So d takes. As you can see, that diagonal is closed. Bishop here, castles, castles, bishop e6. Okay, he played h6. It was kind of thinking out loud. Bishop e6 was reasonable too. I don't think white is going to play this yet because he can play this and then he plays h6. We are wasting a tempo. So, yeah, moves aside, if he plays bishop e6 or h6, I think our plan is pretty straightforward. We can play king h1. We get out of this, diagonal. And we can play bishop e3. We can even hide our bishop on g1. In the long run, we can double rooks up on the f-file, even h3 and g4. It all depends on what black plays, but we have a clear way of proceeding as white, and it's basically playing on the f-file. And I would also try trading bishops off. Bishop e3, queen d2, bishop h6. We have activity on the f-file, and black, on the other hand, he doesn't have much on the d-file. Our d3 pawn is well protected. Whereas on the f-file, who knows, maybe we can get some tactics there. So I think my open file, the f-file, is much more relevant than black's open file, which in this case is the d-file. So as you can see, chances are more or less equal, but we do get a position full of possibilities, and that is exactly what we are looking for when we play the King's Gambit. So in this position, as I was saying in the game Karlov against Koski, black played knight to e7, bishop here, castles, white castles as well. And here let's see some variations analyzed by Grandmaster Belov. In the game, the main move was a6. This is what black played in the game, and I find this move a bit passive. If he plays a move like bishop here, I think white gets a slight advantage, to say the least. After the trades, he can play knight d4. Sure, I go back. and I know that position looks equal, but bishop pair, and I say this in most of my deep dives, the bishop pair has huge value, especially in open positions. And that position here is not completely open, but potentially that position is quite open. I mean, we have ruptures, we can take on e5, we can even move our knight and play c3. In the long run, we'll have an open position, and bishops, they are much better than knights in open positions. So this gives white at least a slight advantage. The other variation we have here is knight e4. Well, I see this move a lot in structures like this, but here we can just take, we can play knight e2. And the pawn on d4, it looks strong. It does give black some extra space, but at the same time, he's blocking his own bishop's diagonal, and it's like we have an extra pawn on the king side to attack. So, again, in this line I feel white's play it's easier, as this variation shows. Here, yeah, Belov gives c3, but we can also play f5. I think this is much stronger. And then we continue with our attack. I mean, f5, this is... this looks like a King's Indian attack move, but I was going to say this fits well with the King's Gambit spirit. We sacrifice a pawn, we get a lot of positional pluses if he takes. I don't think he's gonna take, but if he does, then knight f4. We basically drive all our pieces to the king side, and black has a tough defense coming, I guess. I don't know how to defend this, by the way. If this, knight h5, if I lose this bishop as black, I don't know how to survive this, to be honest. This, bishop takes, and this plays itself. Black's extra pawn is actually doubled up on the d file, so it's like he doesn't have an extra pawn in practice. So you can see a lot of lines, but again, what really matters is knowing the ideas. Another move in the analysis, you'll find h6. Well, here again I like f5. I don't mind losing a pawn. I prefer getting activity. And after this I can just play knight h4. And again, as soon as I open files and diagonals on the king side, I'll have the advantage. I'm pretty sure about that. So maybe black has to take on f4. Maybe. Here, and same as the King's Indian defense, taking with the pawn looks good because we bring a side pawn to the center. But I think in this scenario bishop takes is better because we can play queen d2, rook e1, and every single piece is playing, and I can also try playing bishop h6. I think this trade is key because if we succeed, if we trade bishops off, then we get rid of his most active bishop, we get rid of the king side defender, and then we can continue attacking there. Apart from rook e1 in this position, also queen d2, rook f2 and rook a f1 seems like a good plan. And again, this looks like a one-sided game. White is the only one with clear plans, and black in the meantime, I don't see any good plan for him. Usually in structures like this, you see black attacking on the queen side, but here that looks too slow, and he also lost his center when he took on f4. So maybe now we understand why black played a6 in this game, but even after a6, I really like that position white got in this game. He played pawn takes e5. It is a decision, we are more or less fixing the pawn structure when we take on e5, but we can also try king h1. I also like this plan because As you can see, we can hide our bishop there in the future. Maybe this is too careful, maybe. But there's no rush to play king h1 yet, because he cannot play queen b6. I don't see any tricks on this diagonal yet. So, I mean, apart from this, maybe bishop e3 looks like a serious option, trying to play queen d2. And then we either take on e5 and bishop h6, or we can even keep the f5 possibility. Remember, this is a good option even if you lose the pawn, because two possible scenarios are possible after f5. He either takes the pawn and then he's opening the king side, or he leaves the pawn there, but then we can play it like this and our king side attack is even stronger. So bishop e3 is a super flexible move here. It's like we are not showing our cards yet. Maybe we take on e5, maybe we play f5, or maybe we play queen d2, rook e1, and then we decide how to proceed. So in the game, white decided to take, black took with the pawn. Well, usually he's going to take with the pawn to keep space in the center, and rook f2. Another interesting move by white, and as you'll see in this game, white played an unorthodox plan here, which you won't see this plan often, but let's just take a look just in case. He played queen f1, and as you can see, the idea is to meet bishop e6 with bishop h3. I like the plan. As I said, you won't see this plan often. I don't think you'll have the chance to play this plan often, but just in case, it's good to know. With this plan, white achieves something from that positional point of view. He gets rid of his worst bishop, which is his light squares bishop, and he trades black's best bishop off. We know bishop g7 is good, but for now, this bishop is crashing into the pawn structure. The other bishop, though, is on open diagonals, so this trade is supposed to help white. We get rid of our worst bishop, and we keep the best bishop, which is bishop c1. So, I like the plan. In practice, I think black got a good position too, because he's trading pieces off, but I think matters are easier than queen f1 and bishop h3. I think bishop e3 is the way to go. Then queen d2, we win at tempo. We attack the pawn on h6, and we can play rook a f1. And again, that position is with chances for both sides, but at least we have most of our pieces playing, and we have a fight. We have a good middle game. Again, I insist, with all our pieces playing. That is the most important thing. So this is one of the possibilities. After a6 in the game, white took on e5, as I was saying. Maybe that's too soon. Bishop e3, queen d2, rook e1. That's another way of playing, and I like this. I mean, I prefer this over taking on e5, because here we keep all the possibilities open. Game could continue with something like bishop here. I can play queen d2. When he plays bishop e6, by the way, this makes our f5 move stronger. So suppose he plays this, rook here, or rook f2 and rook a f1. That's what I was saying. We keep all the possibilities open, and black, he has to be on the lookout for moves like this or this. He doesn't know yet. So that's why I think this move order is slightly better for white. So that's all for this line. I know this was like a deep analysis for a subline, but it is good to know. And another thing I like is that we can even try playing this against the Pirc defense. e4, d6, we can play f4, and if he plays e5, we are in King's Gambit territory. The only thing, and this is something you must remember, is that you don't have to take on e5. That's the only real danger in this position. If you take on e5, you lose in view of queen h4 check, and then there's nothing we can do. We lose the game on the spot. Same as other lines we'll see in next chapters. Here, for instance, imagine he plays, well, knight c6, bishop c5. Even if he plays a move like a5, total nonsense move, we cannot take on e5 yet, because he plays queen h4. So this is the only trick you need to remember. I mean, you have to avoid this. If you avoid this, then you're just fine. Again, even if he plays a5, h5, any random move, do not take on e5 yet. First, play knight f3, play some development move, and then you avoid queen h4, and maybe you can take on e5. But as long as you avoid the queen h4 trick, you're just fine. We'll see more examples in next chapters, but I just want to clarify this because the trick is there, and I've seen a lot of games where white loses that way, and of course that's not good. So that's all for this chapter. I hope you found this introduction useful. I hope you could learn something, and of course I want to see you guys in my next videos. Thank you.